Now we move to Normandy in England, and we're dealing with both at the same time because, of course, the Normans will famously invade England in 1066. Now, the Normans will convert to Christianity in the 10th century, and the Normans are a mix of the French, the Vikings. They're really sort of a different group than anyone that we've dealt with in the past, and they're going to settle on the north coast of France. And they have their own form of architecture. And here's the Normans as we know them, the Normandy in the north of France, part of what is today Brittany. And they build Saint-Etienne, which is considered a Norman masterpiece. And this is begun by a Norman ruler by the name of William the Bastard, but you would know him better as William the Conqueror. And he'll be buried there in 1087. Now, when we look at Saint-Etienne, we see something very different. Now, what William does is he builds two monasteries, one for monks and one for nuns, attached to this structure. And he's doing that because he's killed quite a few people in his life, and he's trying to get them all. Well, what he's doing is he's having all of them pray for him so that he can gain access to heaven. The enormous facade is inherited from the Carolingians and the Etonians, mixing these French and German styles. And we see four large buttressing stripes here, 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 and here that separate the structure into three vertical forms. The facade is also broken into registers, as we see here, where they're fairly equal. And the idea here is to get across these perfect proportions, these ratios. And this one happens to be fairly attractive to most Westerners, most people in the Western world. There is no sculptural decoration. This is because the Normans are known more for their military than their art, and therefore we get a church that looks an awful lot like a fortress. Now, if we look at the plan, the original plan is sort of a cross between cruciform, as we see with the transept arms, and basilica. All of this area in gray is a later Gothic addition, so don't worry about that. And originally it was conceived to have a wooden roof, although instead they go with rib vaults, as we see here. And these are 6-part rib vaults. So we've got 2, 4. Sorry, this is a different church. Here we are. So what we have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. Basically, we have a groin vault with an arch running through the middle of it. We see it again here with the arch running through the middle. And the idea here is if a 4-point rib vault is good, maybe a 6-point is going to be better. That doesn't end up being the case, but there is a lot of experimentation going on at the time. And what we also see is a 3-part elevation with the arcade, the area or the aisle in here. We see the gallery, and then at the top we see a clerestory. But we don't see the massive height that we've seen elsewhere, such as at Spare. And this is beginning to look towards the Gothic.